when I got here today, John and James are laughing, and they're like, "You're on the podcast today." So I thought it'd be fun if AI took on the professional.
Great.
In the area of real estate. And these are common questions that come up all the time in the theme of the podcast.
So we've had some pretty special episodes, Hal, but I think this is going to be an interesting one. We got a new face, but a familiar guest on the podcast today, so it's going to be interesting. He doesn't really like to be on camera, but This is going to be great.
This is the
If I'd have known that, I would have had the nose and the mustache with these glasses.
I saw as he was walking up the stairs.
I was bamboozled.
I told him I'm glad you're wearing a nice shirt today because we surprised him that he's going to be on camera.
He's always wearing a nice shirt.
I mean, he got the coffee stain out with his little Tide pen, so that's a plus.
It's like the people that work online. They're from the waist down. You don't know what's going on, but you got to wear this part. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, he's not wearing shorts like JT, so that's okay.
So usually when I introduce, and I apologize. So Jeff, how would you describe your role and with the radio station, what you do?
First and foremost, do morning show on KZOZ.
Right.
And then...
disc jockey.
Yeah, disc jockey.
Can you even say that anymore because nobody has discs?
Yeah, we don't. It's all computer now.
Okay, so am I dating myself?
You're a computer jockey.
Yeah, I'm a computer jockey.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
all right.
Just slide up the microphone
Spin
and
master?
talk.
No.
Yeah.
Spin master? No. Okay.
And then, COVID kind of added a bunch of responsibilities.
Okay.
Because the long and the short of it is I became a sales rep because I was, what was it? An essential employee.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because I had to be a broadcaster
Okay.
to give out the news of why there were shutdowns and all that stuff. So then they're like, well, you're the only one that's allowed to come into the building. Do you want to do sales? I was like, do you need me to do sales? And they're like, yes.
Okay, yes.
And so I went into sales, and then I do a little bit of that and this and production and all that stuff now. So
you wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
So on the 150 plus podcasts that we've done, you've been the one that you and James have been behind
we distribute
all the machinery, making sure it's recorded and gets
and
sent
promoted
out to the public
and talked about and all that stuff.
good.
Yeah.
You're the one that cuts out when we say something inappropriate. You cut the language or whatever.
That would never happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, well, it's good to have you at the table with
Yes,
us for this
I know.
episode. Are we going to
I'm
have some
excited.
fun today?
I think so, yeah. I came up with this idea. It was for you guys to take the ball and run with it. And then
We handed the ball right back to you.
and John goes, when I got here today, John and James are laughing, and they're like, "You're on the podcast today." So I thought it'd be fun if AI took on the professional.
Great.
In the area of real estate. And these are common questions that come up all the time in the theme of the podcast.
Has there been a day in our lives in the last few months where we haven't seen or heard the term AI?
No.
It's
So
everywhere.
this is real stuff going into our future, right?
Oh, absolutely.
About a year ago, I had a client. He works with you guys, Justin Stearns. I called him up. I said, "Hey, listen, I need you to come in here and work on your script." And he's like, "Don't worry, I got it taken care of." Showed up with his radio script on that he had AI write for him. And I looked at it and I was like, "Yeah, that's probably exactly what I would have done." We just recorded it, and he jetted out of the office.
So AI can work.
Yes.
Good thing you wear many hats because you can do other things besides writing scripts.
Because that's gone.
It's gone.
That's off the table.
Would you agree AI is great and it can really work?
Yes.
And would you agree that sometimes that's not true?
Yes. It's oftentimes wrong, and it's an enhanced search engine. So it sources the web and finds out what most people say and kind of packages it all together for you in a nice, tidy package, but it never really thinks outside the box. And if you do think outside the box, then it discounts those ideas and makes it so you're not being creative. And if you lean too much on it, then that's a huge problem.
Do you remember what Bobby shared with us a couple weeks ago, that she was doing some search and it through AI, and it referred her to the Team Sweasey podcast?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a plus.
That's a good thing.
AI did.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI did.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
We talked about that when you were gone. Okay, let's roll.
All right. So this is a common question that comes up on the podcast all the time, Hal. I know John's answer to this. Almost in at least 2/3 of the podcasts. Is now a good time to buy a house in San Luis Obispo County? You give me your answer, and then you can give me what you think AI said, or however you want to do this.
Then we'll look and see what AI said.
Is now a good that's boy, that's an interesting question, because oftentimes people come to me, they've decided they'd like to try and buy a house. So I'm not usually telling them you should or shouldn't, right? But to answer your question, I mean, if you're prepared, if you're qualified, if it makes sense for you, yes. I mean, and then as you're buying a house, is it I'm selling one, or am I getting into the market? Because that's probably what it refers to. That would be a first-time buyer, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Can we just assume that?
It sounds like
I
it,
don't
yeah.
have a house. Is now a good time to buy a car?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or should I wait till I'm 30 and not buy one when I'm got my license or whatever that is? So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to just say, over the long term, real estate's a good investment if you need a place to stay, but most importantly, can you afford it? Can I share the story I just shared with you guys about my parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so my parents owned several homes. My dad's a musician. My mom worked in a medical office. We did not have a lot left over at the end of the month. And fortunately, he bought my first house on a VA bill, our first house for 30 something. And that was in about 60. And then in about 72, we moved to Idaho, 74. So 12 years later, and he sold it for like 80, which that's a huge jump.
Sure.
Right? When gas was a quarter and everything.
Yeah.
And then, so they bought a property in Idaho. I actually helped my dad build it, and he was trying to sell it for $90,000, and this would have been in high school. So let's call that 78. Barely sold the thing. I think they lost money on it, and that was about 80 or 90,000. Well, I was just back in Sun Valley, Idaho. Guess how much that thing's worth today?
I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, but right around $3 million.
Jeez.
A duplex. Now, Sun Valley, it's interesting because it's a resort town and they're surrounded by mountains, so you can't build much. So when a few people descend and then the richer people descend, it just moves the needle greatly on a limited stock. And it's kind of similar to here. I always thought about that and heard that. I think in financial things, they call it a thinly traded stock. There's just not many shares or something. You don't
I've
even
not
know
heard that term. But
yeah. Anyway, so it's like, oh, okay, there's 100 shares. Well, if 500 people want them, then the price is going to go up. So that wouldn't have happened in Oklahoma or Barstow, and no disrespect to just different markets. So to answer the question, for the most part, owning real estate is a good long-term investment. You control your housing expense for the most part. So I would say it's a good time if it's a good time for you.
It says factors to consider.
There you go.
The AI thing. Your financial position, while market conditions are more favorable for negotiation, high median prices mean you still need to be financially prepared. So
Good for AI.
there you have it. You nailed that one on the head. Other things that it needs, it says you could consider, and you tell me if this is right or wrong. Increased buyer leverage right now because houses tend to be on the market longer
Yes.
than they have in recent history.
Yes.
And
Let's talk about longer. I mean, longer than what we got accustomed to for a while.
Right.
So yeah, people get a little more nervous faster. It's
So
like, hey, it's been a month and my house hasn't sold. What's wrong?
our house is on the market a long time right now.
Longer than we've seen recently, but still we have a 2.5 month supply of houses, meaning in 2.5 months they'd all be gone if nobody else put a house up for sale. So that's still what we call a seller's market, but not you have to offer more and you have to buy it on a Tuesday.
It's a more balanced seller's market. Right?
Yeah.
right, but for people that have been accustomed and paid attention for the last, like you mentioned, first-time home buyers, like 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
If they're like looking at it and they're regretting not jumping in when they had the opportunity to jump in, and then the interest rates go up. And there's a recency bias. There's this like false hope.
I like that. I know what that means.
That it's going to go back down to 3 or 3.5. And I mean, is that a reality? I know you guys love talking about interest rates.
I will. I would go, okay. When I was a kid, gas was like 30 cents a gallon. When it went up to 50, I didn't go, well, should I still buy a car or should I still use gas? And I'm not saying everybody should buy a house. It's just over time, you just like, this is where it is. Could it drop? Yeah. Has it dropped some in certain aspects? Of course, but over the long term, if you're going to keep it more than 6 minutes, you're going to be in your house for a while, you want a place to live and people don't move as much. I would say yes, given a number, I guess it was 1, they said. How are you doing financially? But what do you guys say?
Hey, look, we're at a time in the history of real estate today, which is different than any other time. Boy, that's profound, isn't it? But what I mean by that is 90% of the last 70 years, home values have gone up, which means 10% of the time they've gone down.
Right.
They haven't gone down since 2011. Is that about right? So we're on a
we're
on a 14-year run.
Yeah.
Of values going up every year. We are due for a flattening or a little bit of a regression on price. It's going to happen. We just don't know when. Or, as we were talking about yesterday, did it happen already? And we missed it. Yeah. Did home values start to slip a little bit? And maybe between now and the end of the year, we might see that trough start to go back the other way. We don't know.
Who knows, right?
But they have
it's a good
flattened
point.
out a little bit.
In your guys' expert opinion, is it this market due to its desirability? Is it more, I don't want to say bulletproof, but
or immune, whatever.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I think the footing is stronger in general because you think of the last crash in 2006. Well, there was people buying with no money down,
right,
and their rate was this, and it jumped to that. And there is so much equity built into most homes, right, that it's not like people are going to just go, here, take the keys. They're going to sell it, and they're going to have plenty of equity, so they're not pressured to sell. Now, one little pressure, I'll just add this, and this is just the reality. I have clients calling me that own real estate for a long time. They're seeing their insurance costs go up. Now in California, property taxes don't go up, but maintenance has gone up. And it might be somebody who had a rental for a while. It's like, oh, wow, it's making money now. It's like, it's not making so much and everything costs a lot. So this whole affordability issue, I'm going to circle back to, can make a difference, but not anything like we've seen before. So yes, in general, real estate is immune because of the amount of equity and the low cost that most homeowners have.
And that applies for Toledo as much as it does here.
Well, I don't know about Toledo, but right, no, but what did the title Christy at the title company tell us? Like, still 30-40% of the buyers are cash. That's a lot of cash, or more. Yeah.
Okay. But I would say, Jeff, when we answer questions like this, our answers are based on our market. If we lived in a different market, our answers would most likely be different. But I want to go back to something I've said for the last 3+ years on this podcast. When's the best day to buy real estate? And it's always been, my answer was yesterday. Yeah. When's the second best day?
Today.
Yeah. Today. So I'm a firm believer in not timing the market, but time in the market. And I've found this online. I got to read this, okay? And this is for the first-time home buyer. This is really deep, Jeff. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelt. The farmer who waited for rain never planted. The man who feared failure never built anything. The sailor who waited for calm seas stayed on shore. The writer chasing perfection never wrote a word. The heart that feared pain never fell in love. Do you see the pattern? Mm-hmm. Waiting kills progress. Those who are winning in life, they start, even if it's messy, scary, and uncertain. And I would bet that applies to the three of us when we bought our first property, and as Hal shared with me earlier today, and every subsequent property we ever purchased. Mm-hmm. It was always scary. It was always messy. It was always uncertain. And boy, are we glad we did it.
I hope I'm not making a mistake.
Yeah. Oh, right? Gosh. Yeah. Everybody.
I heard my wife say that all the time, right before we got married.
That's a different story.
So look how long
she
it
was
took
really
us.
nervous.
Look how long it took us to answer one question.
Yeah. Okay.
You got any others?
The other one's the other side of that coin. Is now a good time to sell? in San Luis Obispo County?
I'm going to just keep it short. If it makes sense for you, yes. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss. I mean, I don't feel it's my job to advise them. And I would say this, and John would fight me a little bit on this, but I can see many instances that a house that sold in February is not going to get the owner today won't get the same price. And I look at certain neighborhoods, so you see that. So will that last for 6 months, 6 minutes, or 60 years?
And that hasn't been true for the last 14 years. Right?
Exactly. So if you're thinking of doing it, sometimes sooner can be better. And I always tell people this, okay, oh my gosh, my house was worth 1.2 in February. The neighbors just sold for 1.1. Ouch, that doesn't feel good. So when you sell for 1.1, if you do, and if it makes sense, then where are you going next? Well, I'm going to go to Nevada, or I'm going to go to Oregon, or I'm going to go live near my kids somewhere, whatever it is. Well, the market kind of changes, right? So I thought it was worth 1.2, and it was. Now it's worth 1.1, and I'm going to go buy a house for $900 in Tempe, Arizona, and guess what? That house last year was probably $1 million also. So it's just you're just kind of trading dollars. But when we hook into that, I just had this within a state, a lovely couple. Unfortunately, the wife passed away. They sold their house in Oakland in 2022, got a fortune, bought in Shell Beach for 2022, paid over asking price, and half the family was the family, and the husband still remaining. Both owned it, so there was different kind of interests, and he wanted to move. And we sold it for what they paid for it, and but he's going to lose a little bit of money. And the other side of the family is like, wow, I mean, do real estate prices ever go down? Well, in this case, they did, but his house in Oakland that he sold at the premium is now worth less, right? So he's still doing fine, but it seemed like a loss to them. So I'm saying you sold and bought at a high time, it's a little bit less. Everything else has moved the same direction.
There's never, it's always even odds almost.
Well, sometimes.
I mean, for the most part, I remember, so we sold our house because it went up in value in Templeton, and we wanted a bigger house. And we were thinking about doing some stuff to that house.
Right.
And at the time, I was like, why don't we just sell this house and go buy another house?
Yeah.
Well, that was in August of 2020. I was like, okay, well, now we just go buy another house. No, it was a different time in August of 2020.
Yep.
We were getting outbid on every single house that we put an offer in on, and it was tumultuous. And
there was a gap, right? You sold then bought?
6 months. 6 months. The most stressful 6 months of my life. Living in an apartment in Arroyo Grande where we did not live, we did not have roots. It just was a good deal. They would give us a month at the time. We had family that owned the apartment, and you want to talk about on pins and needles, and every single house getting bid. I mean, there was probably 12 offers that we put in that we got outbid on.
Right.
Did it work out?
It worked out on the 13th. 13th was the lucky number.
There's a happy ending.
Yes, it was. We had to go even over. Or we had a rule. We were like, okay, we'll offer 35,000 over for everything. Well, nope. People were swooping in, and we just happened to luck out, and we went 75 over. And that was the market at that time. And to your point, it changes.
And that extra 40 grand, are you glad you paid
Yes,
now?
yes.
You are.
Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
Can you share? I mean, I hate to do this, but share that story. You sold your home in San Luis and moved and rented a house on the beach to see if you like cayucas.
No, that's part of the story. You sold our house. It wasn't on the market, but you brought us a great buyer. And so we had no place to live. And we, by accident, ended up in Cayucas, living on the beach.
Oh, that was an accident.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was like going on vacation till we found a house back in San Luis Obispo.
Right.
Couldn't find what we wanted. By accident, we found a lot in Cayucas. My wife would have never stayed in Cayucas, but the year we were out there, the first year, was the best weather in the history of Cayucas. The water was 70 degrees. It was awesome. Sea life every day. And so we ended up in Cayucas by accident.
But here's the part I remember. You called me back and said, well, I want to buy another house to rent out. I go, why?
Because I didn't want to be out of the market.
Yeah, he wanted to keep his money.
Is this the 30-pack house? The
where you pay the students with the beer?
With the beer?
Oh yeah, no. That was a different house. But no, I had the cash from the house sitting in the bank, and I'm renting in Cayucas, and I'm going, what if the market takes off and I get left behind? You know, I had a friend in Santa Barbara sell their house and go live on a boat in the harbor for 5 years. When the 5 years was up, they couldn't afford to buy a house again. So I didn't want to be that guy.
So he stayed in the market.
Right. So I bought 2 houses.
Yeah.
And then I found the lot and sold one of them.
I liked you better then.
You did. You did. But
There was one thing on that question I noticed the AI really got wrong, and it doesn't apply here, and this is why you shouldn't lean on AI, is they say one of the key trends for sellers in San Luis Obispo County, and you guys have mentioned this many, many times, it quotes increasing inventory as a reason for giving prospective buyers more choices. That's really not the case here, is it? With the inventory increasing?
Yeah. No,
I mean,
that's correct. Yeah. If there's more, 700,000.
I guess I'm looking at this from like a new build aspect, I guess, is when I...
So we're going back. The question is a good time to sell?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. With more inventory? Yeah. No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's generally you want less competition.
The inventory, while it's significantly higher than it was at the start of the year, is still not at historical averages.
Okay.
But I want to go back to your example of the house is worth 1.2, and then maybe it regresses a little bit. It's only worth 1.1. You know, the chances are the person that's been sitting on that property for the last 10 or 20 years paid $300,000 or $400,000 for it.
Sure.
So, you know, if you sold it for 1.1, did you make money or lose money?
Yeah.
You know, it's like your stock that you bought for $100. It was worth $200 yesterday, but you sold it for $190 today. Did you make money or lose money?
And you're
Come
mad.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're mad.
Yeah.
You're mad because you didn't sell it at
The
200.
pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Next thing. This comes up often on the podcast. What's the best place to find your home's value? To see how much your house is.
No, I'm teasing.
No, go ahead.
I mean, if I were not, if I didn't have a little bit of knowledge about what these guys do, I would probably say, you know, one of the major websites. You know, we can all name them, sleeping on our pillow, right? You know, you could go there and you could get a value, right?
Yes. In fact, every month I get an email from one of these services, and my wife gets the email too. And we've joked about it behind the scenes that our wives are always want to buy things and shake it up a little bit. Yep. And she's like, you know how much our house is worth?
Yeah.
But working here with you guys, I know the reality of that situation. That okay, well, they haven't looked at our deck. They haven't,
Right.
So what is the difference between these aggregators and like asking you to give a home value?
Well, I mean, I use the example when you go to get a loan at a bank, they don't consult the internet for a value.
Right.
Now, they'll waive what they call an appraisal, but they hire a professional and pay them $700,000-$800,000 to do a report to make sure the value is okay. Right. So if the bank does that and they're not using someone online, one of the services, there must be something to it. And at the end of the day, I've just seen enough examples where I'll sell a house. I'll never forget this one in Morro Bay. I think I sold it for $650, and 2 years later, Zillow had it at $500, and the market had gone up, right? And I probably shouldn't say that word, but anyway. So I'm just saying, no, they're just gathering information, going, it looks like this, right? So, and unless AI has a different system than that, they're just gathering the same information that you can get off the county records and an aerial map. But yeah, you don't know what somebody did on the inside. You don't know what the floor plan looks like. You don't know if the lot is flat or sloping. You don't know what the neighbor's house looks like. You don't know what's going on with the homeowners association. So there's so much that goes into that. And that is historical, meaning right now when the market's moving And, when it's going straight up, I can't count on what sold 2 months ago because the market's higher. And when the prices have been dropping, it's like, okay, this house down the street is almost the same house, has been on the market for 30 days. If it's not my listing, I call that agent and go, have you had any showings? How many showings? Have you had any offers? What's it been like? And I get the full story, right? So that is more up to date.
Bingo. It says providing a real estate agent. An experienced agent offers their expertise to assess your home's unique features and compare them to recent sales, providing a more refined estimate than online tools.
So AI is saying consult your agent.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm going to say one more thing about the big aggregators. The house I rented in Cayucas, I get an email every month, like you do on your house. It's 50% of the actual value every month. And I keep emailing the owner. I'll buy it for that. He hasn't responded yet.
Yeah. Well, this is going to sound a little egotistical, but if the question was, when you have something that hurts on your body, what should you do? Consult a doctor.
You would be surprised how many people do that.
Well, no, wait a minute. Consult a doctor. Okay. Now, if it's a knee problem, do I call the ear, nose, and throat person?
No.
Okay. So again, this is going to sound a little bit, but if you're not involved day to day, you can call somebody that has a real estate license, and maybe they're not keeping up and following in. And I haven't been in the office for a while, and they're going to look back and, oh yeah, that one sold, 3 months ago, that one sold. That is not a good barometer of value. And you could do the same thing with an appraiser. Someone that does it all the time, does their research, and someone that time to time, and this is, because they get offers online, in appraisers. So they might be based in Lompoc, but they'll go, I'll go up to Paso and do that and go. Now, they don't know anything about the neighborhoods. They don't know the nuances of what's going on. So,
it's a side gig.
It's a side gig. So, not just get a doctor, but get a specialist.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many
Point made.
I hear you guys talk about CMAs, right? Comparative market analysis.
Sure.
Did I get that right?
Comparative, I've heard competitive, but yeah.
Okay.
What's
so
the
what
value?
you're trying to do is figure out what the property's
There you
worth.
go.
That's a fancy term for it.
Yeah.
How many of those do you do a year?
I probably do one or two a day. Okay. So several hundreds.
Hundreds a year.
Yeah.
So do you think you have a better chance of coming pretty darn close than the person who does it once a year?
Well, yeah, and again, you can jump on a computer. I can do a CMA like, sale, right, and pending. But if I don't find out the details, like, there's a pending sale. They were asking $2 million. I call them up. Well, yeah, we settled at 1.6.
So you're making phone calls to get an accurate CMA accomplished.
Yeah. And or it might be, okay, that one went for 220. Did you get a lot of, or excuse me, not 220. Say $1.2 million. You're at 1.1. And I go, good for you guys. What was it like? What was the environment? Did you have any offers? Well, no, we just had a couple people threatening, and then one offer came through, and because it was the first week, they didn't want to lose it, so they offered an extra $100,000. Okay, so if that wouldn't have happened, and I've had that happen where that buyer backs out, then they go back on the market and no one offers close to it, right? Or the opposite. So again, there's a lot of additional information versus I can do a really quick CMA. But if I'm going to sit down and talk to somebody about what to do, I'm going to try to get the most up-to-date information on what's happening, right?
And today, in today's market that shifts every day,
yeah.
How important is it to get to put in the time and do the homework to try to get the best chance of coming close?
Oh, well, it's super important for the owner. And honestly, I don't like, telling somebody one thing and the market bears something else out, right? I don't like being wrong, right? And I'm making an educated guess, but there's a lot of education in that estimate or guess, right? Yeah. So, no, I mean, I try to pride myself on being accurate because I lose credibility, right? You go to the doctor, you go, this treatment will take a week, and 6 weeks later, you're not better. You go, who is this guy, right? So, yeah, same thing.
And we don't get 100%.
No. Right.
Yeah.
But again, right. Now we're getting into it. But when it's on the market, we're responding to what's happening. Because if I list it on a Monday and Tuesday rates go down, guess what? You underpriced it. And if I look at it on a Monday and Tuesday rates go up, and the stock market drops 1,000 points or whatever that is, then that's a different environment. And if I list on Monday and Tuesday, the neighbors come on 100 grand below us, guess what? Market's changed, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
So many variables, but
There
you
it is.
try to find out the most that you can possibly find out when you make that decision.
I do have a little nerdy brain, and when it goes off, I
you do.
scare
I've seen
people.
you work the phones.
Nerd.
You're calling people left and right.
I'll tell one more story about Hal and him knowing where to set the price. In 2018, I sold one of the 2 houses I bought to finish up building my house. I really wanted to price it at $869, and Hal goes, I think it's an $849 property. And I go, okay, I'll go with you. You're the expert. You know what it sold for?
$849.
$849.
I was tougher with him because I dealt with him on another house. I know I'm only going to get one shot with this guy. He's going to make me pay if I make a mistake. Yeah.
This
I
is
think we're
some-
bumping up against
Yeah,
it,
I think we're
James.
getting close to time. It's
Yeah.
I'm sure we have
Okay.
more
How much
questions,
more
but-
AI information do we have?
Just real quick, because it's
Just
something that we talk about, but not very often. And I was kind of surprised by the AI response. Should I sign a buyer broker agreement?
Well, you pretty much have to
Well,
these
it's-
days.
it's not-
Yeah,
it's not really an option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really an option.
Well,
There's
it
a law
depends
that
on whether
passed.
you want to look at a house.
Yeah.
So how does that work then? I call Team Sweasey and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. Would you guys help me out in it? And then they come
okay.
down and you do the paperwork.
Yeah. Should you buy a broker agreement, sign a buyer broker agreement? Yes, if you feel comfortable and you have the right agent to help you, right?
Okay.
But just the logistics, you have to go see houses these days. You can go to an open house, but the rules are there and they're trying to be enforced.
If you ask an agent to show you a house, there has to be a buyer broker agreement signed, even if it's just for that one house,
Okay.
as opposed to being for a period of time and any property.
Yeah.
So there are different buyer broker agreements, but
So for the consumer or for the home buyer, potential home buyer, they can kick the tires. Like say I call up a random agent and I'm just like, hey, want to show me a house? I don't like the information they were giving me. That's done for that house, and then I can go with somebody else.
for another property.
Yeah,
But if
for
you
another
if you
for
if
another
you
They show it
decide to
to
go
you,
back,
yeah.
if you decide to go back to that original property, you've signed a buyer broker agreement for that property.
And let's clarify something because we're having this issue like as we speak today. All that happens now is what used to happen in the listing agent, the seller would sign up and say, okay, I'm going to pay a total of 5 or 6% or whatever it is, and half of it's going to go to the agent that does the marketing, and half goes to the buyer, and it's pre-negotiated. Now, you go with the buyer, and the agent writes in what the commission is going to be, like the price, and 2.5%, 3%, 2%, whatever it is, whatever that number is, it gets written in. There's also so it's in the contract now, and now the seller says, okay. I'm willing to pay that on these terms, or I need more money to give you that commission, or, I'll do this price, but I'm going to reduce your fee. So it's negotiated at the time of the offer, right? But people think when they sign that agreement, and it says right on there, you could owe your agent up to whatever amount is put on that agreement. Now, here in our county, and in my experience, 35 years of doing this, I've had that virtually one time. And that was a client wanted to buy a house that was for sale by owner. They didn't want to pay any commission, and the buyer didn't want to work directly with the seller. So rather than go to an attorney and say, hey, Hal, we'll pay you some money, we'll write the check to pay you to help me out. So we did that. But every time else, it is coming out of the seller's proceeds. Okay. It's structured differently. Okay. And people get a little bit worried about that. And we thought this would happen because this was a year ago, August of 2024, when this ruling came about.
When it started.
And we had a sense of probably not going to change much. Okay, people still think as sellers, oh, I only have to pay half the fee. Yeah, you don't have to pay half the fee, but you also don't have to wash your house or get rid of the clean it or whatever.
Right.
But it's going to affect your value, right? So it's all part of the sales and marketing expense. So to be competitive, most people pay that. So long answer to a short question. You can sign one. You need to sign one to look at a house, but be careful who you sign it with and make sure it's a fit.
Hey, this has been fun, Jeff. Thanks for the idea of comparing Hal to AI. This has been.
What's the
just-
score? What was the final score?
You nailed every
Is it a
one.
tie?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay.
living up to your name. Hal wasn't Hal
Yeah.
the first AI in that movie? Space Odyssey or something.
Wasn't that Daryl?
Was it? It wasn't Hal.
No,
was it
Hal.
like Hal?
Yeah,
it was-
2001. He
yeah,
wasn't born yet.
Yeah,
He didn't know.
yeah.
I wasn't born yet.
Was
Wish.
it Hal 3000 or Hal 2000 or something?
I never saw
the
I never liked the movie
Is
that
it an
much.
acronym for something? I hope.
I don't know.
Yes.
Take us out of here, James.
Yes, we need to end this.
Yeah, that's probably one of our longer episodes. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Just real quick, we talked about it earlier. We're getting close to 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Super exciting, right?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I guess you guys are giving some
Three
good
and a
info.
half, 2022 we started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And AI is using you as a source now,
Yeah.
according to Bobby.
And then you put this now, people can watch this because before we used to be able to have a beer
Right.
Yeah.
in the room. Now
Hiding.
that's
You just gave
We still do.
the overlords all that information right there
The
by putting it out
overlords.
on the web.
okay.
All right. To
Okay.
the overlords.
Let's go home.
All right. Thank you for all the info, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Jeff. This was great.
And
Thank you.
those
All right.
of
Thanks,
you
James.
that watch, like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll talk to everybody later. See ya.